Greetings, Otaku Faithful. Thank you for joining me again this week. Once again, it's Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, and I'm here to bring you yet again another Legend of Korra episode review right here on Otaku Assemble! Weekly, as always, I'm here to bring you the latest in this week's Legend of Korra episode review. So, this is Season 1, Episode 7, entitled The Aftermath, and just like the title suggests, this week's episode picks up directly after the events of last week's episode when Amon attacked the pro-bending arena. Now, the main gist of this week's episode is that Korra and the rest of the group discover that Hiroshi Sato is indeed in leagues with Amon. He was the one who was supplying Amon with the technology that they used in their attack, you know, the electric gloves, the tasing gloves. And he was also developing new weapons for Amon, which apparently turned out to be platinum robots. Anywho, but that was pretty much the gist of this week's episode. So Hiroshi Sato got found out. I fucking told you so. And I'm not saying that as a way to, you know, throw it in your face. Oh, I knew it, because it was pretty obvious. But I know a lot of you all commented on last week's episode where you're like, no, Larry, it's Cabbage Corp, it's Cabbage Corp. Remember they mentioned Cabbage Corp? No, it was never Cabbage Corp, and I'll tell you why it was never Cabbage Corp. The whole Cabbage Corp thing, that was a red herring. For those of you all who may not remember your high school English, red herrings are plot devices that are meant to throw you off of what you should be paying attention to. They are distractors, and they're there for a reason. For good examples of red herrings, watch the Scream film series. Those fucking movies are full of red herrings. But yes, that's what a red herring is. It's in the story to distract you from what you should be paying attention to. Cabbage Corp did not even come up until last week's episode. Why would a company that we've never heard of until last week's episode be the ones developing the electric gloves? It was a distractor to distract you from Hiroshi Sato. He was the one you're supposed to be paying attention to, if nothing else. When did we get introduced to Hiroshi Sato? Like, what, episode 3? Episode 4? So, yeah, it was pretty obvious. Just saying. It was pretty obvious. What I was surprised by, however, was the fact that Asami, number one, didn't know about it because, okay, first off, I want to address that because I was trying to figure out how they were going to play this because they had multiple options. They could have either written it to where Hiroshi and Asami were into it from Jump Street. They could have wrote it to what I thought was going to happen, where in fact Asami was the one who was in leagues with Amon and Hiroshi didn't know about it. Like she kind of did it under his nose. Or they could have done it like the way they done it, where Hiroshi was doing all of this stuff and Asami had no clue about it. You know, it was almost as if it was part of her father's life. She had no clue even existed. So there were 3 possible options. Well, and then of course the 4th option would have been neither one of them were involved in Amon. But of course we know that 4th option wasn't going to happen. So there were 3 ways that they could have done that about, and of course they chose the 3rd way. I was expecting the 2nd. Like I said, I thought Asami was the one in leagues with Amon and that Hiroshi had no idea. But they went with the whole, you know, the whole secretive father, betrayed child motif. And I was surprised that Asami, you know, she didn't decide to join Hiroshi after she found out, you know, despite the fact that Hiroshi's motives are the same as hers. You know, the fact that that her mother was killed by a firebender. You know, she could have just as easily joined up with Hiroshi if she wanted to, but she didn't. And also, she didn't decide to stay neutral. She actually was the key factor in allowing Mako and Bolin to escape with Korra, Tenzin, and Lin. Without her help, they wouldn't have gotten out of there. So I like that turn, and I like that they decided to make Asami more. I'm not saying she's full-blown proactive, but just that scene initiated the sense that Asami was not just going to sit on the sidelines. Since her father played a major role in Amon's current success with the Equalists, then shouldn't Asami play just as a significant role on the counter side of that for Korra and the rest of the game? So I'm glad that they did that. Another thing I want to talk about is I still suspect Councilman Tarlock now more than ever, because at the beginning of this week's episode we found out that he has already begun making plans to take over Lynn's position as head of Republic City Police Force. You know, he's trying to take that over. He's trying to assume that position. And this is why I keep suspecting Tarlock, because he is an individual who keeps going for power. It seems like wherever he is at the time is never good enough. He just needs more and more power, more and more and more and more and more. And by having him at the head of the police force, he'll have that solidarity. He'll have that complete, absolute military force almost. You know, I mean, there's only so much Tarlock could do with his task force. With the police force, though, to have that at his complete and utter disposal is exactly what he wants. And that's why I still suspect that he's in league with Amon. If you think about it, it's perpetual martial law is what's going into effect. You have Amon and his Equalists who are starting up this civil war in Republic City, and then having the police force under a councilman's control. It's damn near martial law. Let me see, what else did I want to talk about? Actually, I think I covered everything I wanted to talk about. Yeah. I mean, because like I said, not much other than the whole Hiroshi Sato unveil. Not much happened in this episode outside of that. So, yeah. Pretty much covered all my bases for what I wanted to discuss in the review. But before I go, I do want to let you all know that sorry, I got distracted. Anywho, but in order to wrap up this review, I want to let you all know that I will be doing a collaboration review along with my fellow YouTuber and fellow Rogues Gallery Incorporated member, Hugo Strange. I will be guest starring on his Best of the Worst series on, what is it? It's The Strangeverse at blogspot.com. So I will put a link to that review in the description box below. We will be reviewing The Last Shitbender. That's why I brought it up in this video. We're reviewing The Last Shitbender, the horrible-ass M. Night Shyamalan live-action adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender. That will be our collab review for the Best of the Worst. Like I said, when that video is out, I will put the link in the description box below so you all can check it out. But anywho, wrapping up this review, this has been Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, signing off, and until next time, peace.